Hey, this is Ryan with Goodwin Racing. When you're shopping for wheels and you're wondering, or when you're shopping for brakes, and you're wondering whether a particular set of brakes are going to fit with a particular set of wheels, that can be pretty easy to find an answer. We do try to list all of our wheels on our website. On the product page, we tell you which brakes they clear. And if it's a brake kit that we sell on the product page for the brakes, then we will usually tell you all the wheels that we've confirmed it clears. But if you're shopping for a brake kit and you've already got a set of wheels, for example, sometimes it can be a little more confusing or it's harder to find the answer. And there's so many wheels and so many brake kits out there that sometimes we haven't tested every single possible combination. So there is a way to usually get the answer. It takes a little bit of work, but we're just going to kind of go through it here. For all of the brake kits that we sell, we make templates. And these templates we can just send you in the PDF form in your email. The important thing here, and I'll show you how to use this in a second, essentially you're cutting this out and you're test fitting it on the wheel that you already have. Conversely, sometimes people already have brakes from some manufacturer, even maybe a brake kit that we don't sell, but then they're looking at wheels that we're selling and they're wondering if it's going to fit. And we probably haven't test fit over some other brand's brake kit, and so they can actually email us the same brake template. They have to get that from the manufacturer of the brake kit, but usually most of the brands will have a template available. If you can get that and email it to us, we'll go through this process and we'll cut this out, check it on the wheels that we carry that you're interested in, and we'll come back to you with an answer, let you know if it looks like it's going to clear, whether it needs a spacer, let you know what we find. But let's just go through the process here and show you how the templates work. The first thing that's really important, this is essentially, can't pick it up. This is an outline of a cross-section of the caliper and rotor combination. The one that I'm holding here is for our version 5 11 3/4 inch brake kits for the NA and NB chassis, 1990 to 2005. But we've got these for all the generations from all the kits that we're selling. Now the important thing right off the bat is that this gets scaled correctly. We are sending it to you in a PDF usually. This line on the side here, this exists so that you can print it and then make sure the scaling worked out correctly. When you're printing, you want to check the printer settings during the print process. And you're looking for anything that, different software will word it differently, but usually you'll see something regarding scaling. And if you see anything like fit to page or anything like that, that's bad. You don't want it to do anything like that. So sometimes you have to set it to don't scale or custom scaling, and then it'll let you enter a number in a percentage, and you want to enter 100% so that it doesn't shrink or grow this on the page, because you want to make sure that this is the actual correct dimensions for the actual brakes. To verify that, you can use a tape measure, a measuring stick, anything, and it'll say on here what length this line is supposed to be, and you're just checking it. This is supposed to be 8 inches long, and I usually don't like to use the end of like a tape measure because it's not very exact, so I'll actually do what we call burning an inch. So I'll be starting on the 1 because I can line that up really easily, and then that should line up with the 9, and it does, so I know that this is scaled correctly. That's your first check, and sometimes, depending on the brand that makes the template, sometimes there will actually be a horizontal and a vertical line, but we provide one. Generally, if the scaling is off, then you're going to see it both ways, but that's just something to look out for. Now, what to do with this? What you're doing is cutting out the outline of this template. Super simple. You're just going to take a pair of scissors and you're just going to cut on the line. And for brevity's sake, I have a separate one that I've already cut this out. I didn't bother. This is the side. This right here is what's going to fit into the wheel, and this whole profile here is what is going to, that's the area that you're trying to pay attention to and how it clears the spokes, the barrel of the wheel, all of that. I didn't bother cutting out the backside here because that's just air. Doesn't actually really matter. It gives me a little bit more space to hold on to on the paper. We're going to check it today on this 15x9 Advanti Racing S1 Storm in gray. Super sexy wheel. And guess we should note that, just point out the wheel here since it's on the table. Flow formed, really strong, really light. This is like 12.5 pounds, right in that neighborhood, 12.2, 12.4, somewhere in there for the 15x9. And the 15x8 and 15x7, those are even lighter. So this is one of our most popular wheels. We've got them for all the generations as well. But for whatever size, it's usually one of the lightest, if not the lightest for that size. It's a really, really great design. Now, for testing the brake template, you're going to go to the back side of the wheel, and I'll try to do this even though it's facing away from me so that you can see what I'm doing. You're taking your template, and I'll probably get out of the frame here, but you can see what I'm doing. You're going to fit this into the back side of the wheel, just like that. And it's going to be a little tough for me to do it while I'm trying to hold this crooked, but the important thing here, now you could, this is basically the center portion that simulates the hub of your car, and our templates make this 54 millimeters because that's the same as your hub on an NA or an NB. If you had a hub-centric ring, you could actually pop it in here, and then this would actually fit into the center of that hub-centric ring. If you don't, you just want to eyeball it and make sure that you're centered this way within the hole, and then you're just looking for clearance all the way around that front side of the caliper where it clears, or where it hopefully clears, with the back side of the spoke. You're looking for barrel clearance up here, and I know I'm kind of wiggling this around a lot, but you're kind of trying to hold it steady and just look, and this does actually clear on this wheel. If it is not clearing, if you see that you've got something that's either touching or really close, keep in mind that we don't like, if you can barely see light between the wheel and the template at some point, it's a little too close. You want to make sure that you've got something like 2 or 3 millimeters, because things do flex in the real world on the car. You want to make sure that you've got there's some expansion with heat, things like that. You want to make sure that you're not really pushing it and it's starting to scrape the paint off because it's so close or something like that. Now, the spoke clearance, you've usually got 2 ways that your clearance could be having issues. You've got the spoke clearance on the back side of the spokes with the front of the caliper here, and then you've got the barrel clearance with the top of the caliper there. And sometimes it's a combination of the 2, but keep in mind that the spoke clearance is really easy to accommodate for or to correct or improve by putting a spacer on, because that's immediately going to take the brakes and shift them backwards, or shift the wheel, technically shift the wheel outwards away from the brakes. So any clearance here you can improve with the spacer. The other thing, the barrel clearance is a little tougher to correct for. Sometimes you've just got too large of a rotor and it's just going to hit the inside of the barrel, and that's just a brake kit that's too big for that wheel. That may be the case, but you'll notice in most wheels that this barrel is not just straight front to back. It does have, especially in like the forward section just behind the spokes, it does have some taper to it. And that taper means that as you add some spacer and start setting this back, the taper here, you're actually gaining clearance within that. So sometimes a small wheel spacer will actually improve your barrel clearance as well. If it's real close and you just need a hair for it to fit, sometimes the spacer can solve that as well. You may see on some templates, hang on there, buddy. You may see on some templates that they will have multiple lines right here on the surface that was basically mating with the backside of the wheel. And those will usually be like 3 or 5 millimeter thick spaces. And so you can actually print a couple of these out and you can cut them with additional paper here to simulate those extra spacer thicknesses if you want to. You can also just put a spacer on the back side, or take a piece of paper, like for this template, which doesn't have that, you could, just take your measuring tape or your ruler and you could draw that thickness with a separate one that you printed out, draw that extra spacer thickness in here, and then just cut on that new line to simulate that extra thickness. really kind of straightforward stuff. We do get, from time to time, people are asking, I can't figure out how to use the template and stuff like that. So hopefully that covers all of the steps that are involved and how you can figure that out. You can get these, as I said, print these out so that you can test a kit that you're potentially thinking about getting on a wheel that you already have, or you can get these from pretty much any manufacturer, and you can send that to us if you need us to verify whether a wheel that we're selling that you're considering getting will fit the brakes that you already have. So if you've got any other questions, if there's something I didn't cover, because usually I don't think of everything while I'm just sitting here, shoot us an email, give us a call. We're always here to chat with you and work things out. And other than that, have a great day.